Okay. Hello, everybody. Sorry I'm a little bit late to the review. Of course, every single game has to come out like in the exact same time frame. Developers don't know that they can release games at other times throughout the year, like the 3-4 month drought where we didn't have anything. Yeah, well, now we have everything. But I just finished God of War Ragnarok. Took me 42 hours to like 98% the game. I only have a couple like pieces of lore and stuff to get, but I even got all the ravens. I did a bunch of the sides, like almost all the side stuff, every single side quest in the game. So trust me when I tell you, I put a lot of time into the game so I could give you guys the best review possible. But let's get into it. Obviously, I played on PS5 because 60 FPS. And I can't really speak about how the PS4 edition runs, so I'm going to be talking strictly PS5. And I didn't have any performance problems or anything like that. It was a pretty steady 60 FPS. Very, very minor, like visual bugs with clipping and stuff like that. But other than that, the game looks and runs absolutely fantastic. But let me give you the pros, cons, and then I'll give you the final score. So the first pro I would say is along the lines of the graphics. It's a great looking game. You know, I'm a little bit jaded because I just got done playing God of War 2018 on PC because that came out on PC this year. And obviously it's not at that level of visual fidelity. But for a console game, it looks pretty damn good and it runs pretty damn good. One thing that I will say is that there's definitely a disparity between the faces. Kratos looks fantastic. Atreus looks pretty good, but a lot of the side characters, it just feels like their faces are not quite up to the level. It's very strange. It's like Kratos can easily pass as, PS5 level graphics, and then some of the side characters you're like, you kind of look PS4, and some of them like late PS3, like Last of Us style PS3. So definitely a bit of a disparity between the graphics, but for the most part the game looks and runs very well. The sound design is fantastic. Every single voice actor hits it out of the park in this game. Every single one. They're phenomenal. I have zero complaints about a single voice actor. And one thing that I'm going to add to the pros, but some people may disagree, is that the game has a lot of levity, a lot of comedy, actually, where you play God of War 2018, and really the jokes are just coming from Brock and Sindri, right? That's about it. There's very little humor with Kratos, very little humor with Atreus, no humor with like Freya or anything in God of War 2018. And then you come to this game and there's a lot of jokes, a lot of levity, which is a little weird because a game from called Ragnarok, you may be expecting it to be very serious and dour, world-ending shit, but there's a lot of jokes in it. And like I said, this is going to be definitely divisive of a decision in the narrative, but for the most part, I didn't find it to be particularly obtrusive. At first, I was certainly apprehensive as I was playing through it. I'm like, this is weird. It has a different tone, but once you get used to it, I liked it. And I'm not somebody that likes comedies as in like movies or anything. If a movie has comedic elements, that's totally fine, and I think that moments of levity are great in any narrative, but I'm not a fan of just straight up comedies. So I didn't feel like it went straight up comedy. It still knew when to get serious for the big story beats, but all in all, I think that's going to be divisive. For me, it was a positive. It was kind of a breath of fresh air to see Kratos even being used for a lot of comedic moments, I'll say. He's not a gag character or anything like that. He's not like, hey guys, it's me, Kratos. But, he's still very much in character. They just kind of use that in a few situations that are comedic. But I'm a fan of that. And in terms of the story, I think the story is mostly good. It starts out the game swinging, dude. It comes out the gate swinging. It slaps you in the fucking face. Slaps you like 10 times. You're just you know, you feel like you're in a fucking Killer Instinct combo with how many story beats and set piece moments are hitting you in the face at once. And then it's like the guy put down the controller, right? The combo stops, and there's a big moment in the middle that is not nearly as strong. It's like the beginning comes out so hard that there's obviously no way it could keep and maintain that pace throughout the entire experience. And if you're wondering, just the main story, if you're playing the main story only, you're not doing all the side shit like I did, it's about 20 or 21 hours according to how long to beat. So obviously it could not maintain that breakneck pace for 20 or 21 hours, but I did feel like the middle chugged a little bit. There were a couple moments where I was like, okay. Even just main story stuff, I was like, okay. There's one mission in particular I've talked to everybody that's played it that I know, and basically everybody agrees that there's one mission in particular. It's about an hour-long section, and it feels like a 3-hour section. Like, it is rough. And one of my friends even dropped the entire game because he was so unbearably bored. It's funny because my dad is watching through my streams for the game, and I've been watching them with him, and you know, I didn't realize it at the time just how boring it was, but then when it was replaying, I was falling asleep to it. I'm like, holy shit, this is really slow. I mean, I said it even when I was playing it that it was slow and I was over it, but it chugs definitely in that one mission, and when you play the game, you'll probably know exactly what mission I'm talking about, because it do be slow. But overall, I think the narrative starts extremely strong, and then it ends quite strong as well. And I think I was just sort of expecting a little more Ragnarok-y, you know, of a theme. And like I said, it's a lot, it has a lot of levity to it. And so for me, I was a little apprehensive when I was playing it. But looking back now, I think that it's fine. It's sort of like a Thor Ragnarok type of moment, you know, where there's definitely jokes and stuff, but when shit goes down, shit goes down. And they know to make it serious when it counts. But in terms of the actual gameplay, it's very, very similar to God of War 2018. If you didn't like God of War 2018, you're not going to come into this game and be like, holy shit, the gameplay is just wowing me. It's totally different and new. No, it's largely the same. Many of the same combos are there. Of course, it does the stupid video game thing where Kratos knew everything in the last game, and now he's just retarded now and knows nothing. So he has to relearn everything, which is a little bit frustrating because, you know, coming from God of War 2018, you're trying to do these combos that you have at the end of that game, and you just don't have them yet. But overall, the gameplay is much better just due to the fact that there are so many more enemy types. My biggest problem with God of War 2018 was the copy-paste enemies, the lack of finishers, right? And just reskinned enemies. It's like, oh, hey, I'm fighting the Draugr, and they're very, very similar to Hellwalkers, and they're very, very similar to these other enemies, right? Whereas this game literally probably has 4 times as much enemy variety. It is such a breath of fresh air, and it goes such a long way with the gameplay because you are not getting bored. You're like, oh, Draugr again or whatever, but oh, there's this new enemy and this new enemy and this new enemy. And along with that, what keeps it fresh is the locales. The locales are so varied, and one of them in particular I wish that you spent a little bit more time in because it is just such a wonderful biome. I loved every second of it, and I really wish I could spend more time there. There's more stuff to do, but unfortunately there's just not that much stuff to do in it. But the biomes are definitely a breath of fresh air. One of them in particular, it's jungly. I was not a big fan of that one, to be honest, and the mechanics that they have there. The mechanics, they were kind of cool for a little bit, but then it just sort of got annoying. I can't really speak about it without any spoilers, unfortunately, but it has a mechanic where certain places will be blocked, and you have to do something in order to unblock them, and there's this... I just wasn't a fan of having to juggle all of these things in order to open up areas and close areas and yada yada yada. So, not a big fan of that biome, but every other one I thoroughly enjoyed. Other than Muspelheim. Muspelheim is still AIDS. They tried their best. The challenges are a bit better in Muspelheim, but it's still awful. But yeah, the gameplay is just kept fresh purely because of the enemy variety and the level variety. They let you do a lot more things with the Blade of Chaos in even puzzles. I thought the puzzles were quite good in the game. And they have wonderful accessibility options for people that are absolute idiots at puzzles like myself, so I could just get hints right out the gate, and it was wonderful. You know, I never had to have people waiting on me to solve a simple puzzle because the game would just tell me right off the bat. And you can utilize your Blades of Chaos and all of your new equipment in unique ways in order to solve these puzzles. And I thought the puzzles were just actually very well done, which is very rare coming from me to say that. But let's get on to the negatives. I think that the game still shares the big negative of God of War 2018, where a lot of the side quests are shit. There's literally a side quest that's get me 3 herbs. I'm not even joking. It's like an MMO shitty side quest. It's fucking terrible. And there's a lot of them. And it just begs the question, why are these even in the game? Right? What is the point? Because at the end of the day, the game is plenty long enough. Like, the game is debatably too long. I mean, you see anybody talking about this game, and it's funny, a lot of people were streaming this game, and I kept seeing their titles of their stream, and they're like, this game is so long. Will we ever finish this game? You know, this game is huge. Like, it seems like there's a general consensus that there's a lot of fucking stuff to do in the game. And I just don't really feel like these shitty side quests that are fetch these 3 herbs or go fetch this toy for me or whatever. I really don't think that those really add a ton to the gameplay experience. And it just ends up feeling like God of War 2018, where it's more of a hassle than anything to do these side quests, but you're doing them out of hopes of getting unique gear or unique abilities or something like that, and oftentimes you just don't. The payoff is just not worth the time investment, and I'll be honest, most of it isn't a huge time investment. I mean, they were nice enough to make those 3 herbs fairly close, but there's not any story progression or character progression or anything like that through them, so it just begs the question, why are they even involved in the game in the first place? The second con that I would say is, I mean, I kind of already said it, that one level. The one level, I can't talk about it because I can't get into spoilers, but you are literally just grocery shopping, kind of. I can't even like talk about it generally, really, but you'll know it when you play it. I can almost guarantee you that one level really sucks ass. Just power through it because goddamn, that one level is bad. Also, kind of already touched on it, Muspelheim. They tried their best to make the challenges interesting, and I actually had a good time going through the Crucible and doing the normal challenges. But then they do this stupid contrived bullshit where, oh, you have to do 2 of the trials that you've already done. You have to do 2 of those trials you've already done to unlock this final trial, and then 2 more that you've already done to unlock this trial, and you need to repeat that to do 6 final trials. So really, you're already going through 2 each. That's 6 trials. Then you get another 1 each. That's 3 more trials. That's 9 trials. Then you have to complete 2 of those 9 trials in order to unlock 1 of the 6 final trials. And it ends up coming to you just replaying the same fucking trials over and over in a different sequence so you can unlock the 6 final trials. And there's not even a good payoff. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't think it's fucking worth your time. There's no cool final boss Valkyrie fight like there was in normal Muspelheim in 2018. And at the end of the day, it wasn't fun, man. It was not fun. I did not enjoy going through Muspelheim. I actually did, like I said, the original Crucible, but having to repeat the same fucking things over and over in order to unlock the 6 final trials was absolute AIDS. I still think it's a terrible mechanic, and it's just dookie, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. And what I would also say for a negative is after I don't even know if I could talk about it, but there are activities that are unlocked as you progress that were not particularly compelling and would lead the vast majority of players to simply be done with the game. But there is crucial story pieces that are in some of this shitty side stuff that is unlocked as you progress the story. So you're kind of stuck if if you want to know the future of the series potentially. You're kind of stuck doing shitty side stuff that isn't very fun in order to acquire that information. I know it sounds like I'm talking about the most general horseshit known to man, but I mean, I can't get into specifics or else it would be a spoiler. So, and I'm not trying to spoil anything for people. All in all, though, I think that the gameplay is vastly improved in this game over God of War 2018, but I think that the expansion of the story and just content in general leads to the middle being not nearly as tight of a cohesive and interesting narrative as God of War 2018. So I think God of War Ragnarok definitely wins in terms of gameplay and gameplay variety and level variety. I think God of War 2018 ends up being far superior in terms of narrative and pacing. So with all of that being said, I think that God of War Ragnarok is a solid 8 out of 10. I think it's a great game. Remember, for me, a 5 out of 10 is average, 6 is above average, 7 is good, and 8 is great. I think God of War Ragnarok it's a great game. It's certainly worthy of your money, but I think that in their attempt to make things bigger and better, they kind of faltered on the better part a little bit there, and they just sort of made a game that's a little too bloated. There's a lot of the side content that is not at all compelling from any perspective. Even if you're a grinder or whatever, it's not very compelling. And the middle of the story certainly lacks what the beginning and what the end have. So with all of that being said, I think it's certainly worth your time. It's certainly worth playing. Avoid spoilers if you can. And yeah, enjoy your experience. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day. See all of you guys in the next video. From Stream Rooney. Bye bye.